There's evidence that an Ivy League school may still be profiting from COVID-19 vaccine sales. A Florida university names a study room after Karl Marx. A Republican politician was shouted down and allegedly punched in the ribs by a leftist student mob in Texas. Video on that to come. And what happens when a student government nominee makes an appearance on Fox News? He loses his seat. I'm Peter Cordy, and this is Campus Countdown. In our number 3 story of the week, the University of Florida names a study room after Karl Marx. When you walk through the halls of the school's Library West, you'll find study rooms named after notable figures like Benjamin Franklin, Frederick Douglass, William Shakespeare, Mahatma Gandhi, and now Karl Marx. Marx is a man who needs no introduction, but for those who do need a quick refresher, he is the ideological founder of communism, the ideology responsible for at least 94 million deaths in the 20th century alone. The University of Florida sees things a bit differently, though, as they felt the need to name a study room after Karl Marx and describe him on a plaque outside the room as a philosopher, radical economist, and revolutionary critic. Odd, there's no mention of the millions who starved to death, were put into death camps, and were executed by the state as a result of his ideas. He's further described as the founder of scientific socialism, with a reputation as a radical thinker. As his plaque at the library reads, "The unique extent of the influence of Marx's materialist explanations of the workings of society, economics, and history inevitably saw Marxist theory extend its influence to literary criticism." As the University of Florida exalts a man whose work influenced some of the deadliest regimes in modern history, they follow a trend of American universities and professors glorifying socialist revolutionaries like Fidel Castro and Joseph Stalin. Campus Reform reports on this regularly. There is a whole school dedicated to Marxist studies in Nanjing Normal University in China. And as American universities operate Chinese Communist Party-run Confucius Institutes, and the CCP continues to gain influence on campus in the U.S., with thousands of professors on their payroll, according to a leading China scholar, it's only a matter of time before this is the new normal. Moving on to our second story of the week, is the University of Pennsylvania profiting from COVID-19 vaccine approvals and sales? New revelations seem to suggest this is the case. Joining Campus Countdown to break it down for us is Campus Reform's editorial assistant, Avery Selby.
Thanks, Peter. In our number 2 story, shocking revelations came from a 2018 licensing agreement between the University of Pennsylvania and BioNTech, showing that the university apparently receives significant financial benefits from the sale of mRNA vaccines, like those made by Pfizer and Moderna. Under this agreement, the university received an initial lump sum of $20 million to fund its research activities and another $5 million payment to fund initial development programs. Additionally, the university continues to receive milestone payments each time a new phased study begins or each time the FDA or another regulatory agency approves a vaccine application. On top of that, BioNTech also pays UPenn commercial milestone payments and royalties in accordance with worldwide net sales of its vaccines, making the facilitation of the vaccine industry extremely lucrative for the school. During the COVID-19 pandemic, UPenn mandated that all faculty, staff, and students get at least 2 shots of the vaccine, and have since expanded on this mandate to further require a booster shot. If the university profits off of vaccine mandates, this incentivizes them to make public health decisions not based on science and data, but based on this financial conflict of interest. This policy appears to remain in effect even as many schools are relaxing their COVID-19 measures. Worse yet, according to the agreement, UPenn maintains civil legal immunity for itself, which protects the institution from being held liable for bodily injury or death that might occur due to the vaccine. Back to you.
Thanks, Avery. In our number 1 story this week, a student at the University of Texas at Austin loses a student government position after appearing on Fox News. One of our own Campus Reform correspondents, Sterling Mosley, was unanimously nominated by a committee of student government members to be a university-wide representative due to his extensive experience in student government. He was more than qualified for the position. The Speaker of Assembly for the school's student government told Campus Reform that he was the one who reviewed Mosley's nomination, and with advice from his board, they all agreed Sterling would be a great fit to be a representative. So, if everyone agreed he was a great fit, what went wrong? In the Student Senate confirmation hearing, Mosley's appearance on Fox News was held against him, as one representative called him a right-wing news source. Sterling Mosley previously appeared on Fox and Friends to shed light on the controversy surrounding his school's fight song, The Eyes of Texas, which has been denounced by many as racist. Mosley expressed the belief that symbols can evolve past their original settings, and while the origins of the fight song may not be without blemish, this is not how the song is used today. The same representative that called him a right-wing news source said that because Mosley is white, he doesn't have a right to talk about this subject. Apparently, shutting down opposing ideas and discounting opinions on the basis of race makes you qualified to be a representative at the University of Texas at Austin. Being a well-respected and experienced candidate, on the other hand, evidently not. When the Student Senate voted, they chose not to confirm Sterling Mosley due to his political beliefs, even though by all accounts, he was the right man for the job. Sadly, we see conservative voices on campus shut down time and time again. Whether it's speaking events facing threats of violence, mobs disrupting speeches and rallies, or the overall lack of ideological diversity in university faculty. College is the worst place you can be as a conservative or advocate for free speech. Speaking of which, that leads us to our woke tweet of the week. This time, the wokeness isn't from the tweeter, but from what was captured on video in the tweet. Andy No, former Antifa militant turned anti-communist activist, shared a video on Twitter of a Young Conservatives of Texas event featuring a mob of far-left trolls shouting down the speaker and chanting "F*** you fascist" repeatedly. Let's watch. The student group had Republican candidate for Texas House District 63, Jeffrey Younger, speak at their event called Criminalizing Child Transitions, which sought to defend and explain Texas Governor Greg Abbott's order classifying gender transitioning as child abuse. Younger personally opposed the transitioning of his own son and, as a result, lost legal custody over his child. He came to share his story and explain why he feels it should be illegal for children to take hormone therapy and have sex change surgery. As a result, the leftist demonstrators decided to climb on top of tables, bang things, and scream at the top of their lungs like this person. Additionally, militant leftists spat on Younger and in one case allegedly punched him in the ribs. After this went on for nearly an hour, the police evacuated Jeffrey Younger, who said in the viral video, "I want to thank you for showing the world what leftist politics really is." Younger told Campus Reform that his goal for allowing this to go on for so long was to let the world see who our enemies actually are, what they have planned for us, and how they are going to treat us. He said, "I want everyone to be able to see that." This is a clear example of the left once again refusing to have an honest conversation about hot-button issues, and instead opting to choose violence as opposed to reason, because devoid of good arguments, their only option is to shut down opinions that threaten their political agenda. That's all we have for you today. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our social media platforms and campusreform.org for all the latest liberal lunacy being pushed on campus.